Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Damien from North Park Films, and today we're going to be talking about the National Arts Centre, a wedding venue located in Ottawa, Ontario. So I just wanted to share some perspective, give you guys some insight on what it could look like if you had your wedding at this venue. The NAC is a beautiful wedding venue. It's very elegant, it's very chic. If you want more of a luxury type wedding, then I think this is like the perfect wedding venue to kind of host like a large wedding. I'm gonna kind of go through the few rooms that are available at the NAC and then kind of give you some perspective on how many guests can be there and what I think it would be best used for. A lot of these rooms can be multi-purposed for your ceremony, your reception, or even cocktail hours. I'm gonna go through all of them and give you guys my overall perspective on what I've seen and what I've seen work very well. The first thing I want to talk about is the get ready. So if you're going to be getting ready around the grounds of the NAC doesn't necessarily, I don't think it has like a designated room for you to get ready. Not that I haven't seen any brides actually get ready at the NAC, but there are a lot of hotels surrounding the NAC that are literally within walking distance. You literally walk across the street. The Westin Hotel is literally right across the street to the right, and then right to the left, right beside Parliament Hill, is the Chateau Laurier. The great thing about the Chateau Laurier, I'll say over the Westin, is that the Chateau Laurier has a lot of opportunity for you to not only get ready, but then if you decide to do a first look, or if you want to do your portrait sessions, everything is super accessible, and it's kind of like you're doing a nice walk to your venue if you did have your ceremony there. If you want a great view, you have a great view of Parliament Hill at both these hotels. Big windows, so you get a lot of natural light coming in. Both these places are great places to get ready if you're thinking about wanting something that's accessible and nearby. This is also great for your guests as well. I'm gonna talk about portraits, but it kind of falls into the first look as well if you do decide to have one. The NAC itself has a lot of spots as well where you can do portraits. I think it's cool if you're doing magic hour photos, just to get the sun setting in the background and you guys are on this top floor. But if you walk around the corner and walk up these stairs, then you can get even higher. So this space is really cool. As you can see, there's so many spots where you can get good portraits, and it all depends on what kind of mood and vibe you want to go for, but the possibilities are endless around this area. So, and it's all very accessible and easy to get to. Inside, if it does rain, and I had a wedding there where it did rain, so we had to do their portraits inside, and there was a lot of cool spots to do inside. There's like this room, this red room. I didn't even get to do the shot I wanted to do here, but you could do this if you try to visualize with me. So they had the ceremony in this red like octagon room, and then there's just this light coming through the ceiling, and they actually had the lights off. So it created this cool effect where I thought about it as the ceremony was going on. Like, I want to get a shot of them in the middle of the room. Because the rest of the room is dark, I'm like, it would be cool to get like this cool like artistic shot of them just in the middle of the room. I didn't get to do it because of time and they ran behind and all this other stuff. But if you have the opportunity, I think this would be a great room to do some portraits. Next spot I want to talk about is the red stairs. The NAC has like these interesting red stairs with these big chandeliers. I didn't get to do any video there with the couple I was with, but that is an option if you want to get some interesting, like chic, elegant photos. Definitely that's a great spot to do it. If you want to do your portraits, I think the Chateau Laurier kind of has a win over the Westin just because it's so accessible to so many spots where you can do portraits or a first look. Mind you, Westin, any of the spots I'm talking about in terms for portraits are like, if you're walking from the Westin, it would probably be like 10 minutes max to actually walk there. If you're at the Chateau Laurier, you literally just probably come down an elevator, walk outside, and you're already there. First spot I want to talk about is just off to the left side of the Chateau Laurier. There's this spot here. It's like I guess you could call it a veranda. Is it a veranda? I think that's the right word. It's like the space where there's a little ledge and down below is the water. To the left of you is Parliament. So you get a picture facing that area, you're gonna see Parliament. Hopefully it's not under construction when you shoot, but as of right now, I think we're okay. This whole area here just almost feels like you're in Europe. And one underrated feature about this area is in the daytime it looks great, but if you shoot there during magic hour, the sun for some reason always seems to set like on the side of where Quebec is. So you kind of use that as your backlight coming in, and you get some really dreamy photos if you do it there. And then also during the fall, all the trees near Parliament Hill those kind of change color too as well, so that looks really cool. I love to get shots here of couples just walking. If you wait for little pockets, little moments, you can almost make it seem like you guys are the only people there, but I guess it just depends on what day you go and the time frame that you go. But I don't know if I would do family photos here. It can get a little hectic trying to control a lot of people just walking by, like tourists and stuff like that. I don't know if I would do family photos here. So the next location I'm going to talk about is behind the Chateau Laurier. There's this big open green space. So you have this a lot of grass, and then there's some trees, some brush, and then the background is essentially the Chateau Laurier, the building. Or if you turn kind of to the right, your background will be actually Parliament Hill. So this is a great space to do family photos. You can kind of keep everyone in this area on deck. There's not usually too many tourists or people like hanging around this area, so I think it's a good space to be able to, you're able to kind of just conduct your family members, all that kind of stuff. This is also a great spot for portraits if you just want something a little different, because I think a lot of the other spots that I'm talking about around this area, they don't include a lot of greenery. So this is one spot where if you do want portraits with a little bit of nature aspect to it, this is a good spot to do it. The next spot I'm going to talk about is off to the right side of the Chateau Laurier, and it's like this, I don't really know how to explain this spot. It's like they have like this spot where cars pull in, and then there's like this covering and then like these pillars and stuff like that. It just has like a vibe to it. The whole side of the building there has like this ledge and the street, and it feels like you're, once again, like you're in a time capsule and you're just somewhere else. If it's a really bright sunny day and really hot, this is a great space to do bridal party photos, or if you want to do some portrait photos and you can't handle the sun beaming, then this is a good spot where the sun is usually not beaming because it's in between two buildings. Next spot I want to talk about, it's in front of the Chateau Laurier, in front of the building. There's like these stairs, and there's two ways to go down it, and then you come down the middle, and then down there it's like this little tunnel almost, and it has little pockets. There's a lot of like interesting light kind of peeking through this tunnel area, and then also with the steps and stuff like that. And I found like it's just a bit different from when you're on street level. I guess depending on how ambitious you want to be around this area, keep walking down the street towards Parliament. There's like older buildings there, and some of them have like cool doors in the front, and the courthouse is kind of under construction right now, but this was also a cool spot where I did a style shoot and I got shots there as well. And then I also did the style shoot where we made our way from the Supreme Court of Canada all the way up to the Chateau Laurier, and we got like little pockets here where we got these cool shots in different little spots, but I think it made for a cool like elopement city wedding vibes. If that is your vibe, then I think that around this area that's accessible within like a 10-minute walk, there's a lot of cool spaces that you can get portraits around the Chateau Laurier. The NAC has a couple different rooms where you can technically have your ceremony, reception, or your cocktail hour. Usually these videos I kind of break it up, ceremony, reception, but I feel like all these rooms can be used as either your ceremony space or your reception space, depending on how you want to approach it. I'll kind of let you know what I think, what I've seen people do with these spaces and what I think you could do with them. So the first space I want to talk about is Le Salon. It's the octagon-ish room, and it's got like red floors. This room's a bit more moody. It's a bit more dark. It has a mood to it that I actually love. It has like this octagon-ish window that like lets light come down. You could turn the house lights on, but I thought the bride and groom actually asked if they could turn the lights off. And at first I was worried because I'm like, this room looks dark. But it actually created a whole mood. And thank God for Sony cameras because they're great in low light. But this room looks great just because you have this one light coming through. It's feeding light through the entire room. It feels very dreamy. It just depends on what your aesthetic is. Absolutely love this room. This was a great room. They did their entire ceremony in there, and it went really well. This room is suggested to fit about 40 to 150 guests for your ceremony. So if you wanted to use this room for your ceremony, you could. I don't know if I'd recommend this room for a reception, but it definitely makes for a very nice ceremony room. Next room I want to talk about is the Aulbourn room. So the Aulbourn room fits about 144 to 250 guests. This room I've seen used for a ceremony, a cocktail hour, and a reception. So I thought the one time I saw it used for a cocktail hour, it was like they had little bar tables set up throughout the room, and then people kind of just congregated, like walking around, that kind of thing. And then they had some speeches just at the front of the room, and pretty much that was it. The cocktail hour just consisted of some speeches, and then people had little tables, and they had hors d'oeuvres and like drinks and that kind of thing, and it was just kind of a hangout spot. The next thing I saw at the Oborn room was a reception. Just like circular tables throughout the room, people would sit, and that's where they ate. You know, the bride and groom head table, and then the bridal party's head table kind of off to the front of the room as well. I think doing your cocktail hour or your reception here is a great idea. The lighting in this room is amazing. They have massive windows that go all the way up to the ceiling. Your view is Parliament Hill and the Chateau Laurier and pretty much all of downtowns. It's definitely a vibe, and when you're partying at nighttime, this area looks great as well too. If you're looking for a wedding venue in the heart of the city, this is definitely where you want to be. So I've seen ceremonies shot here. I haven't shot a ceremony in this room myself, but I've seen a lot of ceremonies done in this room, and it looks amazing. So if you look hard enough on YouTube, you'll find like a wedding videographer or photographers that have done ceremonies in this room, and it looks amazing with, you know, the big windows and your florals kind of like right against the big windows, and your walk down the aisle is long, it's elegant, and looks amazing. Next room I'd like to talk about is the Ross Pavilion. This room holds about 36 to 150 guests. This room I've seen used as a cocktail hour space. Kind of like after the ceremony was done, they kind of congregated around in this room and then kind of around the area as well. And this was a good space for people to kind of just like hang out, talk, and chat with each other just while they're getting the reception room ready. This room does not have massive windows like the Oborn room, but you still get a lot of light coming in from outside, and then it's also just a nice little space to kind of congregate. Next room I want to talk about is the Lantern Room. So I have not shot a ceremony in this room, but I've seen photos and videos of ceremonies in this room, and it looks amazing. The only thing I've shot in this room is actually just portraits. So I did bridal party photos in here, and I did essentially bridal party and family photos in this room, but you could probably use this room as a ceremony or reception space. Again, like the Oborn room, you get big windows kind of facing the city, a lot of light coming in, it looks very elegant, and it makes for some great photos and natural light coming in this room as well. The last room I want to talk about, and it's the biggest one, is the Canada room. So the Canada room I've seen used for mainly receptions. If you're having a big wedding with a lot of guests, especially for your reception, then I highly recommend this room. This room holds about 60 to 1,500 guests. So depending on how big your wedding is, if you're having a massive wedding, I highly recommend this room. I think in terms of lighting, this is probably the most balanced when it comes to lighting. You still get a lot of light in this room because of all the bigger windows. They're not like 18-foot ceiling windows. They're still very big windows, so you get a lot of light. Usually the sun ends up setting on the left side. So depending on the time of year where the sun's gonna set, that will kind of determine how much light you're getting in. Either way, this room does get a lot of natural light coming in, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. And the good thing about this room is that it's very accessible to the roof. Literally, you walk out and the doors to go to the roof for portraits, if you want to sneak out during magic hour, it's literally right there. Hope you guys got some insight on the NAC in this video. This is a really nice wedding venue if you're having a more luxurious wedding. If you're gonna have a lot of guests, I think this is a great space to kind of host. The food here is really good, the service here is good. This place looks like art in itself. If you guys have any other specific questions about this venue, let me know in the comments, and yeah, happy wedding planning.